All right, let's talk some pass rush, why don't we? As this Eagles pass rush has been awesome all season long. It was awesome in the game against the Giants, a big part of why they were able to be so dominant against the Giants. Let's be honest, everything was awesome against the Giants in that one, but this was one of those things, so let's talk about what went so well. So let's start off with this play. The play you see on the screen, this is going to be Hassan Reddick going up one-on-one against Evan Neal, which is a bit of a mismatch, if we're being honest, for the Giants, as Neal has not had a great rookie season. In fact, he's had a bad rookie season, and Reddick has had a great season for the Eagles, as he's really, again, kind of those contracts with edge rushers can always be shaky. Sometimes they work out, sometimes they don't. But this one has worked out exactly as they hoped he did, as he's been fantastic. Look at how right when this play begins, he gets to kind of his hand to knock away Neal's hands. He runs basically just right by Neal. He's so much more explosive that he's able to make that happen. Neal doing what he can at this point to push Reddick behind Jones. That's what he's attempting to do here, which is okay, right? This isn't a great situation, but Jones can step up in the pocket and maybe even try to scramble outside the pocket now that containment has been given up. But here's where having multiple really good defensive linemen come in. Right there, Josh Sweat, who is, really one of the more underrated pass rushers just in football, he's doing great work on Andrew Thomas. He's not winning the way that Reddick is because he has a much tougher matchup. Andrew Thomas is really good. But what he's going to do is actually just drive Andrew Thomas back enough, and Andrew Thomas's right leg is going to end up being a tripwire, essentially. Watch what happens. Watch how basically just trips Daniel Jones because he got pushed back, and that ends up being each of them get half a sack on that play, deserved, because of how well they both did. Reddick was able to dominate his favorable matchup, and then Sweat was able to win a less favorable matchup, and being able to do that, getting pressure from multiple ways, is against the mobile quarterback how you can get sacks here. Another example is going to be this play, where what's going to happen here is, one thing about the Eagles that I don't know if enough people give them credit for is people talk about the Eagles as this great pass rush team, which that part is very true, but it feels like a lot of kind of the perception is they kind of just send for, let their guys do their thing, don't really get too creative with it. This is a team that will get creative with how they rush the passer at times, and this is an example of it where they're just going to run a, it's a stunt. It's nothing like, I don't know, crazy. You're not like, what in the world is this? This is stuff teams do, but it's still, it's them making it easier for their players to succeed. So Brandon Graham and Sue on this play, those are the two interior defensive linemen on this play. They're going to be running basically just straight up, and their goal is to really get the center to move towards Sue, move towards the left, so then Reddick can swing around. That's what they're trying to do here, is hopefully get a straight shot for Reddick to get to Jones. However, right when this play begins, it didn't really work, right? I mean, this was picked up nicely by the Giants. You have to give the Giants credit here in this spot for being able to pick up this play and realize what's going on. This is John Feliciano, the center for the Giants, who is doing a good job of just being in position. The issue is that you still have to block Reddick here, which is not so easy to do. Reddick has his left arm kind of on Feliciano's right side of his body, and watch what he's going to do. Watch him just drive him back, and he is eventually able to get to Jones, who, again, Jones kind of throws it out at the last second, ruled a sack, deserved a sack there, as a very good play from Reddick, and being able to win in different ways is definitely a positive asset in a defensive line. Let's go back to Josh Sweat for a second. I want to talk about motor. Every defensive line needs at least one guy who has a high motor, and there's no doubt about it. Sweat is a guy who is, every time I watch him, he's someone, it jumps out on film, his high motor, and this is going to be an example. Going up against Andrew Thomas, tough matchup. Don't expect him to win, right? No shame in losing every single rep to Andrew Thomas. He's that good. Watch how when this play begins, Thomas is able to definitely get a win here. He blocks Sweat out of the way, but the play is not over. And again, the goal is not to make your pass rush win rate as great as possible. Your goal is to win football games. And so at this point, yeah, it's, if you're watching this and you're evaluating it, you're saying, okay, lost the rep. Andrew Thomas won. But the rep is not over. The play is not over. And still fighting to make anything happen is a positive asset, a positive trait in a football player. Watch Sweat still run forward, and he's going to actually knock this football out. Unfortunately for the Eagles, Giants kind of got a nice bounce there. They were able to recover, and, recovering a football isn't just entirely luck. Give credit to Mark Glanowski for finding a way to fall on it, but still, that's something that just goes to show, not only do you have great defensive linemen you have to block, sometimes you have to block them for a while because the coverage unit definitely finds a way. It covers guys, and then you're at a point where quarterbacks hold on to the ball for a little bit longer, and now you got these high motor, high hustle players who are also really good at rushing the passer anyways coming for you. Yeah, scary situation. You also have a play like this, which I think is, again, a good example of what the Eagles do well. So I'm actually going to highlight a guy that I didn't, when I started making this video, I wasn't expecting to highlight too much, but Sue on this play is going to be going up one-on-one against the right guard. This is Glanowski for the Giants. So, okay, one-on-one matchup. Watch what he's about to do. Watch as he is going to, eventually win this one-on-one matchup and, gets Jones to step up in the pocket. Okay, fine. Jones steps up in the pocket. Jones navigates the pocket very well. Even, in his worst years, he's always been very good at that. That's always been a positive asset of Daniel Jones. But at least you got him out of position a little bit. You like that. But here's where the coverage comes into play. Is a lot of times people kind of, I think, get football wrong sometimes. They view it as the pass rush comes first, and if the pass rush gets there, doesn't matter what happens down the field, the quarterback can't make the throw. A lot of times the opposite is true, where a lot of times the quarterback wants to throw the ball, but if they can't throw the ball, that gives time for a pass rush to get there, and that's what's happening here, where Jones looks down the field, again, had to step up a little bit from the initial pressure, but doesn't love what he sees, and this is what makes it so difficult to stop. Brandon Graham right there, if you're giving Brandon Graham several seconds to get a sack, he's going to get a sack. That's just what's going to happen. Watch as he is eventually able to get over there. He tackles Daniel Jones for the sack. Again, give these guys time. They will get to the quarterback, and their secondary constantly gives them time, so they constantly get to the quarterback, right? And obviously, they can get to the quarterback even without much time. But when you have time, it makes it that much easier. And finally, one last play, something like this, I think it's worth noting that this is definitely a trait that they have as well, which is they can scheme stuff up pretty well because they know oftentimes how you're going to be trying to protect your quarterback, trying to do this stuff. This is why it makes it easier for them to scheme stuff up sometimes, where what I mean by what I'm saying is you see the blocking concept on your screen. I mean, again, this is relatively simple. You have 5 players who are on the line of scrimmage. You have 5 offensive linemen. There are no tight ends blocking, so one guy each covers that guy. If someone else comes in, well, then you try to do something about it. You have a halfback on the left side of the screen, but you do not have a halfback on the right side of the screen. And so what do you do here? You get a little bit creative, and that's what they're going to do. They have a player coming in from the other side of the field. They actually have someone coming in from both sides of the field, but it's going to be mainly it's Wallace for Philadelphia. It's going to be Kavon Wallace. He's the guy who's going to come in from the other side, and who can pick him up at this point? Really nobody, right? Watch how he runs through completely untouched, and Jones had to get rid of that football quickly, just goes incomplete. It allows you to scheme stuff up when you kind of know how teams are going to be, blocking for you, and really it's just a good play call in general of, part of why you blitz is to try and surprise the quarterback, right? That's part of why when you pick your blitzes timely, you timed them up perfectly, good things can happen. I think the Eagles are very good at that, and they can generate pressure that way. They really generate pressure every way you can generate pressure. They run stunts well, they rush the passer straight up well, and they blitz timingly well. So going up against San Francisco, a good offensive line, well, both good defensive line and good offensive line, this is potentially how they could steal a victory. Not steal a victory. They're favored, but, find a way to win against the 49ers. This maybe could be how they do it, or at least play a role. But that's what I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.